Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is. It's sometime in the mid-afternoon. It's Sunday, and it's been a interesting morning. Our pastor talked this morning about Ahab, and actually the fools. He used a key scripture, a fool says in his heart there is no God. And as I was sitting and waiting on Brett a while ago, as he was doing some stuff, I thought, and I got to looking at the scriptures from where Pastor was reading this morning and read more into the story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal and how he called fire down from heaven. And I was thinking about yesterday where I was talking about, hanging in there, even though winter's coming and we know that things will sleep, that the time will come, spring will come again. And I've been thinking about how my mind has just been going through all of its different phases with these migraines and how it just seems like you go through stuff sometimes. And you start feeling like you're the only one that ever goes through stuff. Which you're not. But you feel like you just keep messing up. And I was reading through the story of Elijah. After he calls down fire from heaven. It was simple. I think it was 30 words to his prayer? 60 maybe? I don't remember. It wasn't very many. It's like two, maybe three verses that his prayer was. He didn't go into an elaborate prayer to God. He just said, God, show these people you are God, and I am your servant, and that you sent me to tell them about you. And I sat and I just read over that, and I read over that. And then I kept going past it. Because this place had a drought. It hadn't rained. I know we felt like the 5 or 6, 7 weeks that we have had that has not rained, we thought, man, it's been dry. This place hadn't rained in years. 2, 3 years, I think, 3 years, something like that. So they were really in a drought. It was dry. And I remember, in the scripture, it's in 1 Kings, chapter 18, verse 41. And Elijah said unto Ahab, Get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain. It hadn't rained on this place in a long time. And Elijah's telling the king, it's going to rain. And then he did something else. He went off and it came to pass, so Ahab went up, ate and drank, and Elijah went up to the top of Carmel, and he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees. And he said to his servant, Go up now, look towards the sea. And he went up and he looked, and he said, There is nothing. And he said, Go again. And he did this 7 times. 7 times. I think I'd have gave up after the first 2 or 3 times of going and looking. But the servant said, Elijah said, Go look, go look, go look. And it says after 7 times, and it came to pass at the 7th time that he said, Behold, there ariseth a little cloud out of the sea, like a man's hand. And he said, Go up and say to Ahab, Prepare thy chariot, get thee down, that the rain stop thee not. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heaven was blackened with clouds, and the wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was upon Elijah, and he gathered up his loins, and he ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. And I'm like, go look. He's already told the king it's going to rain. Go look. I know it's going to rain. 7 times he went. And I thought, sometimes, just before we get that breakthrough, we give up. That servant could have quit any time in those 7 times, because my understanding, where he was at to where he was going to look wasn't a short piece either. It was a long piece. It was a little bit of a distance between them. And instead of giving up, he kept going, believing what the prophet had said. Because if that servant hadn't believed in Elijah, there's no way he would have made that trek 7 times to see. Because a lot of us would have looked at him and said, you're nuts, man, and gave up. So many times we're right on the brink of getting our answer, getting our rain, getting what we need, because we're so dried up we can't see ourselves. We can't see the rain because we're so dried up and in what seems to be a desert place that we stop thinking it's going to rain and stop thinking God's got this. And we're just about to give up. Now, if that servant had to quit, what would have happened? But he didn't. He believed the man of God, and he said, okay, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. It may not be easy, but I'll keep going. Because it's going to rain. I'm believing in this man of God. There's a lot of people in this world who want to tell you how to live your life. But you have to believe that God sends people into your life to speak into your life. And you have to guard who can do that really closely. Because there's a lot of false prophets, and later on Ahab will be led by false prophets. But Elijah was a true man of God. And they had just seen his relationship with God when he called fire down from heaven. This servant saw that. And he goes, this is a man of God. This is God's servant. When you have that person in your life speaking into your life, don't give up on what they're saying just because you don't see what it is doing. Because God's going to use that man or woman of God to speak into your life. When you've seen God move in their life, when you've seen God use them, and you know they're a servant of God, and they're coming to you saying, this is what we need to do, this is where you need to go, this is how you need to live, you honor that man or woman of God and follow what they say. Because they're going to be accountable to God for what they taught you. But you're going to be accountable to God for whether or not you listened. That servant listened. And because of it, he said, I see a cloud the size of a man's hand. Elijah said, there it is. You better run. And the rain fell. When that man or woman of God says, I can see rain is coming. Go check. Go check. You keep an eye. I see a blessing coming. You keep after it. You keep going. You keep faithfully looking. You'll see the blessing. Be careful who you let speak into your life. But when you see a man of God or a woman of God speaking into your life, listen, follow, and watch the blessings of God rain down on your life. The road may be hard, and what they're asking you to do, the servanthood, may seem redundant and old and just, why? But no, there's a 7th time coming, and you'll get to report back. I see a cloud the size of my man's hand. And that's when that woman or man of God that's been directing you and that you've been working with, they go, here comes the blessings of the Lord. Watch it rain. I believe in you. God bless.